Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin with the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Januszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Eric?
Doing fantastic. It was an interesting weekend. We've had tornadoes in the Northeast. And in fact, I saw it was the first time a tornado had hit Long Island in November in about 50 years.
Yeah, and they said the last recorded one in Connecticut was like 1950 also. It was crazy. I mean, I was driving through it on Saturday and saw the lightning and whatever. And they said at least three different places here in Connecticut. And I had a brother-in-law in Rhode Island that was affected by it too. So crazy stuff.
It is. And I know the Midwest had massive snowfalls. So we hope all of our listeners are warm and safe.
Sounds good. With Thanksgiving around the corner, that's the way to be.
Absolutely. So our guest today is Diana Arias, and Diana's got an interesting backstory. So Diana, welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, yes, so my name is Diana. I am newly divorced, newly starting over in a brand new career. I have 3 kids and a golden doodle. I started this career last year, right before COVID hit, and it kind of put a halt on everything. And I'm just now getting into the world of meeting people and networking, and it's how I met you and Chip, and it's been really great. So I don't know if you want me just to dive into my whole long backstory or how that works, but obviously,
Sure. Well,
yeah, go
your
ahead.
your new career is in finance, and what was it that in your backstory that made you come this way? You said it's a brand new career.
Yeah, so from a young age of 18, 19, I had always been an entrepreneur. I met my ex-husband then when I was young, and we had always owned our own businesses, property management, housekeeping business. We were in a partnership with a couple others in a marina. So our businesses were very lake centric. With all these businesses and 3 kids, we were super busy and very much relied on our parents to help us with our children and our businesses too. They, very much involved. And lucky for us, we had 4 amazing parents close by to be able to help us. So as life happens, we kind of had a couple tragedies hit us both in fairly close amount of time. On July 4th of 2015, my mom at age 55 suffered a brain aneurysm rupture. My parents were both young and both working full time, not at all expecting something like this to sort of stop life, devastate the family emotionally, but also financially. So, we're going through that put a pause on a lot of things in my own life. But then 3 months after that, we lost my father-in-law. So my then husband at the time, he, lost his biggest supporter as well and his best friend. And we sort of had to be an emotional support system for his mom as well. So it was kind of a lot of things going on at once, as life tends to throw at you. So, then comes my own life event. I got divorced last year, right before COVID hit. But in that process of going through separation and everything, I realized that, I had to find my own way, my own career, because we had always run the businesses together. So, seeing what my parents went through, how they were all set for retirement. They had, they were hard workers, but they had it all figured out, or so they thought. And then seeing them now like on Title 19 because of the spend down, because of what they had to go through. They had their things planned, but it wasn't protected on that side. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, I had my father-in-law who who was a planner, and he had everything all set so that on his untimely death, because he was only 56, his wife, she's all set for the rest of her remaining life. So I got into insurance first and foremost. And in financial planning, the company that I work for, we do protection-based planning, which I love because there's just no point in trying to plan for your tomorrow if you don't have your today protected. And there's so many different avenues and aspects of that people don't realize. Doing one thing over here could cause a ripple effect over here. So it's really become like a niche for me, and I love it. So yeah, that's my why.
So obviously, you had a lot of tragedy in a fairly short amount of time. And you saw, again, on your side of the family, they weren't prepared. Your ex-husband's side of the family, they were prepared. You saw the differences. What was it that hit you hardest? I mean, what did you see that went, oh my God, that's a major mistake. I have to avoid it myself, but I also want to teach other people to avoid?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I first, like I said, we had kids young. So when I first got pregnant, the first thing in mind was I got to get life insurance. So we both did that. But now I realize, in the career that I'm in, that what I had wasn't nearly enough. Nobody realizes our human life value, that the potential we have to make in our lifetime is really astronomical compared to what we think we are worth, right? So first of all, undervaluing ourselves, and we tend to put a value on tangible things like cars and our homes, where at the end of the day, like, I love my car, but if I crashed my car and my insurance company did not reimburse me for it, I'm still going to find a way to get from point A to point B. But if I'm not able to work, not even because of death, but if I'm just sick or injured for 2 months, even 6 months, a year, that's hugely like a financial impact on my life, like not just being able to not pay my bills, but going into debt. And I don't know, just not being properly prepared. The amount that it costs to properly protect yourself is really nothing in the long run when you think about what it could protect you from.
Yeah, and having been through this yourself, when I sat down with you for the one-on-one to, just learn about what you've done and where you are now and where you're going. I mean, you obviously have a passion to help other people out because, I mean, it can be confusing. Obviously, life insurance, everybody's heard of that, but there's so many other things that people have to plan for, and it's complicated based upon what the professions are and everything else they're doing. And so, I mean, what you are is really a guide, a coach, assessing needs to be what needs to happen and so on and so forth, and then kind of guiding people along as far as what their paths need to be. So I would imagine just knowing you the little bit that I do, getting to know these people and understand where they're at, and then helping them out, showing them the way to do things must bring you a lot of joy.
Yes, at this point in my career, I just want to educate as many people as I can. And give them the chance to vote, right? Like, I don't want to sell. I want to teach. And then once I do that, that's my job, just to educate and spread awareness about it. And then I've done my job, and it's up to them to decide what to do with that. But yeah, there's nothing worse than not spreading the information that I have, because God forbid if something happened to a close friend or family member that I know, and I didn't try to help. That's just, it's a shame.
So obviously, this all hit you when you had these life experiences. When somebody is thinking about these things, what are some of the triggers that you've seen? I mean, what life events occur that should make somebody go, wait a minute, I've got to look into if I'm actually protected.
I mean, I honestly, I feel like almost everyone that I've spoken with, I feel like it resonates with them in some way. I think everybody knows someone, whether it's their parent or a friend or even themselves, who can um, imagine a time where they've even had like a back problem, a shoulder surgery, where it's put them out of work for a while, and it put some financial strain on the family. And these are things that I love to help with, because I can help navigate this and plan for it, because the truth is that this most likely will happen. Something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be a tragedy like what happened to my mom. That's sort of catastrophic, right? But these things do happen. Like even women who go on maternity leave and have a sickness or an injury related to that, and they're just out of work longer. It's just, they can be planned for, and when they're planned for and you have that extra savings set aside, or that extra protection, if we're talking insurance wise, it just makes all the difference. So
Yeah, and you mentioned the word awareness, and I mean I totally agree that that's step number one to anything, and just awareness of number one what the possible situations can be, but also awareness that you have a way to hedge against these things and cover things, when they happen. And a lot of people don't think about that up front, or probably aren't even aware of possible situations. Number one, and the solutions. Number two, that are there.
yeah, the awareness is a huge thing in my networking and talking to people. I found that I really have a passion for the protecting your income first and foremost, because when I do the planning and the strategy, if you don't have the income there, that the whole plan relies on the steady flow of income. But as you know, it's very unlikely. So protecting income is first and foremost. But so I've become sort of a specialist in this area recently. I'm doing the training. I'm going above and beyond to learn it inside and out. And so I've made it my passion to talk to people about this. And one of the things I've noticed, going through my own divorce, we mediated. It was never brought up on the table. Our lawyer asked us if we both had life insurance, and it was in our decree that we should be each other's beneficiary for our children. And he was obligated to pay me child support. However, it was never even mentioned that he should have disability insurance, because if he's become, if something were to happen to him, sick, injured, he wouldn't have the means to be able to, back up his income to be able to pay me. So I kind of took it upon myself to do a little poll, and I spoke to several people who got divorced, both men and women, on either side of the child support or money arrangements. And nobody had been made aware of disability insurance. It wasn't brought up, it wasn't spoken about, it wasn't in the divorce decree that it should be at least talked about. And that was just kind of crazy to me, because for me it's everything. If there's no income, how could that be supported? So again, it's just spreading awareness and talking to people. That's kind of my mission right now.
So you mentioned you're going through some training. What kind of training are you going through right now?
Well, like I said, specifically disability income protection insurance. Like I said, we protect our homes and we protect our cars, but we walk around our most valuable assets, most of us, unprotected. And a lot of us, we have jobs where they offer long-term disability or short-term disability, and as a benefit, most people will sign up for it if they have it. But I have been learning how to read these policies inside and out. So for my friends, or even just people that I meet and speak with, I offer to give them a review of their policy to help them understand it, because there's so many